Hey there, and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Christina, and this is Real Estate Pros, RE Pros Academy, where I help real estate agents, transaction coordinators, team leads, anybody in the real estate industry, real estate professionals, build the systems they actually need to run their business without it running them. So, today I want to talk to you about a month that completely changed the way that I work, the way that I think about how I work, and in the end, I'm going to show you how you can take what I learned and apply it directly to your business. So here's the situation, okay? I was already managing around 35 transactions. At this point, my highest month had been 75 with a previous brokerage, which for most people is a pretty full plate. I mean, 35 is a pretty full plate for most people. And in the span of about 2 weeks, everything fell apart all at once. So two of my full-time coworkers left on vacation. Actually, one of them left. Uh, the other one left on vacation. They were gone, okay, for an entire month. Their workload landed on me. We lost our manager. No warning, no transition, just gone. All right. So I was also responsible for training a new hire who had luckily done this work in the past for a previous brokerage, but for a very small team, and a trainee from another state. Okay, so on top of all of that, my transaction volume has nearly doubled. So it goes from 35 to about 85 in the same month. Now, I want you to sit with that for a second because I am filling in for one full-time role that is not, it is in my department, but it's a completely different role. I am taking on the workload of essentially 3 full-time employees for an entire month by myself, while training a new hire and a transfer from another state who has no idea about the forms in my state because each state is so different. So when I say that out loud, it sounds like a nightmare. And honestly, for a lot of people, it probably would be a nightmare. It would have been, 70-hour weeks, and the ball would have been dropped, and there would have been missed deadlines and compliance errors, and probably a lot of breakdown at some point, right? But that's not what happened. I got through that month. I got through it working less than 40 hours every single week, and I didn't miss deadlines. I didn't drop transactions. I didn't burn out. Was I overwhelmed at times? Yes. I'm not going to lie. Absolutely. But I want to be very clear about something. It wasn't because I'm exceptional at my job. It wasn't because I have some superhuman ability to hold everything together under pressure. It was because I had a system that works for me. So every transaction followed the same workflow. So from the moment the contract came in, to the day it closed, every checklist is built, it's waiting. Every email that needed to go out had its template, and I could send it in 30 seconds. I could actually auto schedule it to go out when I put the transaction in, and I didn't even have to worry about it. So every deadline had logic built around it so that I knew what was coming in before it became a crisis, right? So my system handled the predictable stuff. All I had to do was manage the exceptions. And in real estate, there are always exceptions, yes, but there's a big difference between managing exceptions and managing everything from scratch, right? Every single time. So here's what I've noticed after 10 years of doing this and 15 years of being in operations is that most agents, most TCs, they're doing it the hard way. Okay. Not because they're not smart, not because they don't work hard, but because nobody actually teaches you how to build a system for this. Nobody actually sets up the system for you and hands you the keys and says, here you go. You learn the contract, you learn the deadlines, you learn the compliance requirements, you learn all of that, but the system, the infrastructure that makes this run very smoothly every single time, you're expected to just be thrown in and figure that out on your own. And most people do what I did very early on in my career. They hold it all together in their head, or at one point, a whiteboard on the wall is what held it together for me. The 75 transactions that I mentioned that I had before that, they were held together by a whiteboard on the wall. So, people are recreating things. They're creating things from scratch every single time. They're managing their deadlines in their head, and they're just hoping that everything works out. Like they're hoping that this transaction runs smooth, and it works until it doesn't. Okay. Until the volume picks up, until something goes wrong. And at the same time, something else has gone wrong. And then you're lying awake at night and you're running through your checklist because you don't fully trust that everything even got done on that transaction. And that's not a workload problem. That's very much a system problem. Very, very much a system problem. So let me tell you what a real transaction management system actually includes, because I think a lot of people have a vague um, idea of what it should include or what they need it to include, but not really a clear picture of what it actually looks like when it's fully built or what it should look like when it's fully built. And at the core, you need transaction workflows. So these are going to be your step-by-step processes that you walk through every single time. It has to happen from contract to close. Okay, this is going to be this is not a rough checklist. This is a full workflow that's going to account for the real sequences of events that happens every single time, the dependencies between the tasks, and the things that most commonly get missed. Okay. Then you need custom checklists. So now I want to emphasize custom here because generic checklists that you just download somewhere is not the same as a checklist that's actually built for your specific process, for your market, for your compliance requirements, and those details matter. So you can take a generic checklist and then you can, use that as your base, and you can add in those nuances as needed, but those do have to be in there. Then you need email templates. Every communication you send on a regular basis, if you send an email more than once, it should have a template. Okay. They need a template. So your initial your initial intro contact to the client, your initial intro to the lender, your initial intro to the other agent, your initial intro to the title company, all of those things, your lender follow-ups, your inspection reminders, your closing confirmations, your final walkthrough scheduling, all of that. None of these should be written from scratch every time. None of them. And you need deadline logic. So this means knowing not just what the deadlines are, but what triggers them. Okay, so what needs to happen before them? And then that cascading effect, if one gets missed, right? So when this is all built into your system, then you stop being reactive and you start being proactive. So you start working smarter, not harder. And you need an implementation roadmap. So you need a clear picture of how all of these pieces connect, how your system actually runs from day one of transaction to the very last document filed at closing. And that's what I'm talking about when I say transaction management system. It's not a folder structure in your desk drawer. It's not a spreadsheet. It's not a whiteboard on the wall. It's a complete operating system for your real estate business. Now, here's the thing. Building this takes time, okay? Especially if you're starting from scratch. And I know most people in the real estate industry don't have a lot of extra time, especially if they're already managing volume. So that's exactly why I have built RE Pros Academy. I have taken the exact system that I used during this one very impossible month for most people, and I've documented every single piece so that you do not have to build from zero. And here's what I want you to leave with today. If you know you need this system and you want to build it yourself step by step at your own pace, that is perfectly fine. I've actually created a complete DIY program, walks you through exactly how to build your first transaction management system inside of TC Docs, every workflow, every checklist, every email template, every piece of deadline logic, all of it. I give it all to you. I give you the checklist. I give you the email templates. I give you the step-by-step instructions. I walk you through every bit of it. So yes, you can absolutely build it yourself. The link is in the description below. If you'd rather have it done for you, built for you, that's an option too. I build your entire system inside of TC Docs in less than 24 hours. You get on a 30-minute call with me up front. You send me your login information. The clock starts once I receive your login information, and I hand it back to you completely built with a full recording training video that's about 40 minutes long, so that you know how to use everything. And you also get 30 days of direct support from me after that. So you have email support with me personally after the handover. And that's, asking any questions, working out any kinks, anything like that that needs to be done. So that link is also in the description. So 2 paths, same destination, a transaction management system that actually works for you so you can work smarter, not harder. This is for those agents who want to scale their business, who want to, go beyond what you're mentally dealing with right now, who want to go beyond what your transaction limit is right now. If you're only handling 10 transactions a month or 10 transactions a year and you want to double that or triple that or quadruple that, this is how you do it. Okay. This is how you do it. So if this video was helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I do post new content every week for real estate professionals who are serious about running a better operation in their real estate business. So I'll see you in the next video.